supporting you in your dog parenting journey. The Dynamic Dog Owner with Debbie Potter.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of The Dynamic Dog Owner, the podcast designed to support you, the dog owner, in your dog parenting journey. This week we are joined by Jack from PawsTrading to talk to us a little bit about PawsTrading, PawsMade, and what they do. Welcome, Jack.
Hello, how are we doing?
So tell us firstly a little about yourself. Who are you?
So myself, I'm Jack. I'm very much integrated into the business. Paul and Paula, that's mum and dad, they are the owners of the business. Me and my brother have worked within it, well, ever since I did my A-levels and decided university wasn't for me. I was already very much involved in the business with the dogs, and that's where it went from there. So I'm now 29, so that's a good 11 years ago, and helping alongside before that as well.
Oh, wow. Fabulous. So a family-run business through and through.
Definitely. There's myself, my brother, mum and dad, my wife, and then we have 3 other people employed that aren't direct family.
Oh, amazing. And how long has the business been operating?
So as an actual limited business, it was registered in 2012. However, Paul and Paula and ourselves have been doing it a lot longer as sole traders. Was looking back at this, and it's about 21, 22 years somewhere.
Wow, that's a long time. So what was the sort of motivation, I suppose, behind making dog toys, and obviously all the other bits and pieces you do as well?
Yeah, so the dog toys actually came at a later date within the business.
Okay.
To start with, it was just your normal dog products, treats, toys, bedding, that sort of thing. That was from a need of mum wanting to source it for her own dogs. And then with the handmade toys, was always being asked for them, but we found there just wasn't a massive range available out there. Mm-hmm. So then we sought to it to have a go at it ourselves, really. And that has massively snowballed.
Yes, I can agree, because they are fantastic, quite simply.
Thank you.
Really, I would say a massive variety of different toys. So when did that how did that take off?
So that's been absolutely massive. A lot of years have gone into that. I think the product that actually got us first up and running massively going would be our Paws Pocket. That was, I believe, I think when I looked, 12 to 14 years ago was the first one. There's about 4 or 5 different versions in total, because as we progress, we try to upgrade things and make them as best possible. The Paws Pocket, simply put, is a petal ball where it opens out for the dogs to get the treat out of. And that's had lots of different applications for people, whether it's bridging the gap to actually being able to train and with a toy, use it as a dead target. Some dogs bring it back to be opened up. It's just used in many, many different ways. And also alongside that being our pinnacle product, there's also, we use a lot of real furs. So sheep, rabbit. We do use fur as well to imitate fur, because some people don't like real fur. Yeah. And that just really helps drive dogs and motivate them.
Absolutely. I've got quite a few of the real ones that we use ourselves in classes, and dogs absolutely love them. We've got the toy side of the business. What other aspects, obviously you mentioned you do beds and other bits and pieces. What are the other areas of what you do?
Yes, so I'd say the biggest parts in everything else we do is vet bed is a massive side of things. What's cool about that is it is produced here in the UK. So it's nice to have a product that's through and through UK. It's produced here, supporting British jobs, etc. So we really like that. We do a lot of natural treats, and we do a little bit of everything, and that's what PawsTrading always has done as a whole. We offer, when, I don't know if you've ever seen us at shows at all, but if you see us at a show, there is literally a bit of whatever you could need on that stand, you can find. But then from there, that's then leads you further down the rabbit hole. It is more our customers that lead what we look for, because it's feedback from everybody. And also being integrated in the community ourselves, you see a need for a product that you can't generally get out of a general pet shop.
Yes, yeah. Obviously, you can tailor it to what people actually want and need, which is quite, it's good for you to do that, rather than just go, right, this is our product, this is what we've got, that's what you're getting. Nice to be able to tailor what you need and develop products to make sure that your customers are happy.
Definitely. It's always been a hard task, that has, because obviously the reason in a general shop why XYZ might be available is because that's very easy to get your hands on. When you start looking into, well, when I'm training, I'm really struggling to do this job, and this tool here would really help me do that. A lot of the time, then the struggle is sourcing that product, making sure it's a sustainable source, because there's no point then developing it into something that works and not be able to get more of it, and making it so it's workable, because you don't want to buy a product that falls to pieces in seconds either.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. So do you have a design team, or who comes up with all the different ideas? Once you've got the inspiration from obviously clients who are using your toys and your equipment, what's the process of designing something new? I imagine it takes quite a lot of thought. Maybe it doesn't, but maybe testing to make sure it does what people want it to do.
So the honest answer is, normally with anything new, mum is normally the brain behind a lot of that, and she comes up with the idea, and I'm like, no, nothing else. We don't want anything else. We're already doing enough. And a lot of the time there's contention between that, but actually she is normally correct in what she's on the lines of. Nowadays it's more myself and my other half, Abby, because we're the ones out at the events mostly. Abby still actively trains a dog as well, so you get that first-hand experience that helps you develop something. And then we have a few people that we'll have as ambassadors, or like Craig Ogilvie, who specializes in toy play. He'll come and say, I'm missing this item. Is there any way you can figure out how to make this work for different dogs? And then that just gets the brain cogs whirring. We'll brainstorm it between us. And then there's the capabilities of the machinery, the capabilities of ourselves making it, and the sourcing of the items again. That's always a big issue as well.
So do you hand make every item yourself?
Yes, all the items are handmade here. We've got we've got 8 sewing machines in total. 2 of them are backup for if things go wrong.
Right.
There's 6 active in the back of the warehouse, and 2 people that work within PawsTrading are literally full-time making items, and another person is full-time just with Paws Pockets.
Wow, that's how popular Paws Pockets are.
Yeah, the Paws Pockets literally are, I'd say, one of our pinnacle products that makes us. And yeah, they are really nice quality, and they always seem to meet people's needs and expectations, which is really nice.
Nice, amazing. So obviously you've got a good team there, doing everything. How easy is it to market these new ideas? Do you put them through product testing with other dogs, or do you just roll with an idea?
Yeah, so I slightly mentioned online ambassadors. Obviously, we've been in the community now for, well, my other half, Abby, she's been in the community for absolutely years. The same with myself since I was like 8 years old. A lot of our customers will always comment on the fact that they knew me from yay big to yay big. So there's always a collection of people that we know we can talk to, ask to trial a product if it's not ourselves, to get some feedback. And also we have what we call our ambassadors. So Sam Lane is one of those, Alan Bray's one, Craig Ogilvie another, and we will sometimes ask them, we've got a new product, send it to them, just ask for feedback before we put it out for general sale. Make sure there's no little bits we can tweak to make them better.
Yeah, and I suppose it's quite a good way to get it out in there, use it, and then see what actually has to happen. Because I suppose the ideas you come up with or that are suggested sometimes probably seem really good, and then maybe don't quite go to plan, or there's ways you can adjust what you've actually made.
Yes, a great example of that would be lately we've been trying to make, but we just can't think of something that will do it. I mean, the best innovation I've seen people do is for dogs with muzzles. So as you know now, a lot of dogs have to wear muzzles that are classed as bully breeds or coming within that legislation. And the best innovation I've seen is people putting lick mats in the ends of them so they can get direct access to treats and lick treats off. But we were trying to design a toy that would be able to slot within the muzzle to still reward the dogs, but that is proving very difficult because there isn't really anything that ticks the boat that does it. And there's been a few products tried, but it's just, they don't work as you intend them to.
Yeah, I can imagine that is a real tricky thing to overcome.
Definitely. And I can see why there's a need for it with the current legislation, because you're straight away putting something on the dog's face, and sometimes that causes not the dog's fault, sometimes owner's fault. Somebody will cross the road and go, that dog's got a muzzle on, I best not go near it. When actually it may just be a case of legislation.
Yeah. Or simply, they rubbish off the floor.
Yeah, exactly. It can be a number of things. Definitely.
So many different reasons. Yeah, no, that is, I imagine that is a real head scratcher. And how do we work around that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, if you work it out, that would be incredible because it would benefit so many different dogs. But yeah,
Oh,
I
it'd
can
be
imagine that is
amazing.
a tricky one.
And then another way we get a lot of new products, which trying to think of an example of one. So the waggle, that actually was a customer that came to us. That was Sam Lane in this particular instance. So the waggle, to explain what it is, it's a body of faux with two legs of rabbit coming off it and some sheep feet. And these sheep
Mhm.
feet, when you run away with the toy, it's on an extra long line, it will imitate prey.
Okay.
So when Sam came to us, she explained what she was after. And then we looked into the mechanics of the toy of how we could make it that makes it lightweight enough. So, for example, on that, it has the rabbit legs, sorry, which then allows the weight of the sheep on the bottom as it's running away. It sort of wiggles, which then
Okay.
taps into your dog's natural instincts of wanting to chase that item. And you've got the best of both worlds. You've got faux, rabbit, and sheep on there.
Mm. It's interesting. That particular toy, the waggle, I didn't even know it was called the waggle because that goes in and out of my head. That is one of my dog's absolute favorite ones. And I just go, that's a really cool toy. I've never thought about the mechanics of it actually before, as to how much thought goes into making sure it moves in that way to
Yeah, on the
stimulate
surface of it, you just, like you say, you see a toy, it
toy.
works, and that's it.
Mm.
We played around with that, a few different models that were made of it, and we found that that way of combining it was the best way of doing it. We always know the rabbit can be a weak point, so that is actually strengthened with extra
Mm.
fabric within it. But like I say, the lightness of the rabbit does allow those sheep, as we call them, sheep feet, to move really nicely.
Fascinating. I didn't even think about how much thought would go into it. So how many
It's
different products would you say you have? Obviously, you've designed a lot of different toys, as I say, for so many different purposes. How many actually are there? Have you got a count of how many different designs there are?
never actually counted it. We used to, so we do business to business sales, and we've recently launched a website, but this used to be on an Excel sheet. And I
Hmm.
know when you don't take into account the different variations, I think it was around 80 different products on that sheet, and that's what was offered as business to business sales. So there's
Wow.
probably is a few more as well, but that's not including any of the variations. Because another thing we like to do is offer all your different colours because everybody
Yes,
likes matchy matchy.
of course.
Definitely.
You need to have matching.
If you can. I mean, I'm the sort of person that will just use whatever. My other half, Abby, she likes it all matching.
And that's where, obviously you catering to the people who do want matchy matchy, and the people who don't care less what colour it is. Um, but yeah, that's an amazing different range of toys. I mean, I suppose the question could be, how does someone pick? If they've never experienced a lot of play with their dog before, if they've never tried toys like you produce, how do they go about picking one? Is there any tips you've got of how do you select the toy that you think your dog will like?
Yeah, so in the instance of our company, we get asked this question quite a lot, to be fair. And you have to take one of the big factors is size of dog. So a smaller
Hmm.
dog, you wouldn't want to get a huge toy, but a bigger dog, a tiny toy isn't going to help because your hands are just going to get bitten. And
Yeah.
then after you've taken into account size, you then need to think about what it is your dog really likes. So some dogs just love to chase ball. So a really good way then, but they're not interested in actual tug toys. So if that
Yes.
was the
Yeah.
case,
Very
we'd then
common.
recommend a pause pocket on a tug because you can integrate food into that to get them into tugging. You
Hmm.
could use it to bridge the gap. Then we've got the choice of different furs. So your sheep will always be stronger. Your rabbit is always the one that the dogs are more motivated to go for, but it is a lot weaker. I always recommend for somebody for a first toy to buy what we class as a cheap toy, just something like a fleece knot tug to give a go to see what the dog likes, because you can get it with a sheep fur, with the rabbit fur. You might then find that they really do prefer sheep. So therefore, then you're narrowing your choices down. And it is unfortunately a bit of trial and error, trying different products to see what your dog likes, because they're like us. Not all of us like coffee, not all of us like tea. It's
Yeah.
just preference. And you've got to find your
Hmm.
dog's preference. If you've not played with them before, always try start at the cheaper scale of the toys because they can become expensive. So you don't want to be throwing money at it for the fun of it, and try and narrow those choices down before you go into it too deep.
Definitely. And I think that brings up a good point because obviously, I have used your toys. I have a big selection. So we use them on our training classes to give people that option of see what your dog likes. And I do notice personally when I'm buying them, your prices are really quite competitive, considering they are obviously handmade in the UK. They're not too expensive.
Yeah, that's something that we've always strived for. With other companies out there, there are other products obviously available, and some of the price points you see are absolutely crazy. You may notice on some of our designs that we do have just the black with the 2 pins of colour. That helps keep the overall price down a little bit. But by doing this, it offers the toys out at a fairer price, making it more accessible. Because price point definitely can play a big part in it. And also, we try and source everything from source. So our sheepskin is direct from the tannery, the rabbit skin is direct from the tannery, the webbing is direct from the weavers in the UK. By getting it all from source, it helps us keep those prices down. Because as you say, that is an important factor at the end of the day.
Especially if, a lot of people would say, oh, my dog will just rip that up.
Yeah.
If they buy
Which
something
they do.
that only lasts a week or two, you don't want to spend 30 or 40 pounds on a toy and it only lasts a week or two. So yeah, I think price point is really, really valuable. It's something that people consider before they're purchasing, for sure.
Definitely. And mentioning on the point of dogs chewing the items up as well, we try to explain in all our product descriptions they are intended for training with. If somebody is to let a dog take a toy, go sit in a corner, even our collie is a little bugger for this, our oldest collie, even when you're talking to your trainer, if you haven't got your eyes fully on the dog, the backs of their teeth, they can get through those toys in seconds. It will amaze you how quick a dog can grind through a toy. It is crazy. So we always just say, just make sure you're watching for that. And when you're using the toys, it is for tugging, it is for rewarding, and you're keeping an eye on the dog, not having a lapse in concentration.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's a really good point to make. And I think there is that big divide between toy versus reward item or reward toy, because many people will go, what's the difference? But there's a huge difference between the two. And obviously you've got your hard wearing toys that you can leave in the toy box that aren't going to get damaged quite as quickly, but obviously they're not going to be stimulating, as we've spoken about, the predatory desire to chase stuff and interact with you. So that's a really good point to mention that toys versus reward toys are very, very different.
And that's a brilliant way of breaking them down. Yeah, definitely. And also another aspect, when you get a special toy out, it changes a dog's mindset a lot of the time. They know that they need to start listening, looking at you, and it's just that mindset, right, I'm here to work now because that specific tool or toy has come out, and it's creating that routine for success.
And I'm a big advocate. I mean, we had Craig on the podcast a couple of months ago, and toy play is so valuable when it comes to training, that it is underestimated. And it's often, a lot of people will find, my dog isn't interested in toys, but obviously having a big selection, you can make sure there is definitely something they will like.
And also, if a dog isn't into toys, they're normally at least into food, and we make a lot of toys that are a gap between the two of them. They're a mixture of food and toy. Then you can build that reward into the toy as well, because it opens up so much more training when you've got the use of the two.
Absolutely, yeah. And those particular the hybrids of toy and food are incredible for encouraging dogs to play or harnessing different parts of their pattern of playing. So product wise, obviously material wise, sheep and rabbit, are they the two kind of main animal fur you use? Is there any others that you've ever played around with, or are they the two main?
So we've always kept a sheep and rabbit, and we have tried cow, but it's not very readily available, and it doesn't offer anything different that sheep or rabbit doesn't offer. There's not much to it to entice a dog. We have played around with other things or been offered other things, but ethically, I'll get this word right, the efficacy of the source could be questioned, which we would never want to go down that route either.
No, that's fair. And I suppose they're the most interesting, aren't they? They're the fluffiest. They're the
definitely
most interesting.
And
there's other things you could probably try and use, but they're probably not, as you say, going to work.
That's right. Yeah, and also the efficacy plays a massive part of it as well. The tanneries that we get it from, they both have ethical statements that run in line to ourselves as well. So we're quite happy with that.
And I suppose that kind of brings on, with the ethics of making sure, animals, etc., being looked after. I suppose many people, you probably get a proportion of people who are like, no, I'm vegan, vegetarian, don't agree with using animal fur. That's where the fur comes in.
It is, yeah. So we've got the faux fur, which looks like real fur, and also another of our fabrics that is quite well used. Everyone will know it as the mock fabric. We call it snoodle.
Hmm.
So that's the little bits of fabric with many, many noodles of fabric all over them. And again, that's a love fabric by the dogs because the wiggle of those noodles as you shake it around just catches their eye.
Yeah, definitely. I'd say those are, we haven't used them too much with our own training, but they are definitely ones that a lot of dogs would prefer as a second down from the sheep and the rabbit for sure.
Definitely.
So obviously you source all the rabbit and the fur from tanneries. So presumably you can trace back where all those animals have come from and ensure that they are being looked after, all ethically sourced.
Yeah, so the majority
therefore,
of it, well, the majority, I say majority, all of it is a byproduct of the meat trade. So it is an item that would just go to waste.
mm,
So obviously
which
there
is
is
nice
a bigger
because
market to it. Sorry, there's a bigger market to it as well because a lot of it's purchased through through theatres for making their costumes. That's where a lot of it goes to.
really,
Yeah.
how interesting. I didn't know that. Fascinating. You learn something new every day. Very interesting. But yeah, I suppose it's good that you obviously it's sourced in the UK. It's not going to waste, as you say. With the meat industry, there are so many byproducts of it, and obviously that's where we get our dog chews from. A lot of those are produced from the byproducts. At least, in a way, it's making sure that all of the animal is being used and nothing is going to waste.
Yeah, which is a lot better than thinking that something's been brought up just for one certain part. At least there's the full thing being used.
Yeah, absolutely. How, as a business, do you get obviously your name out there? Because we're obviously, smaller businesses like yourself, we're always competing with the big name brands that you'd find in your general pet shops, on the high street brands. How do you get your name out there as a distributor of not just toys, obviously, but all the other things you do as well, but your toys in particular? Um, how do you get out there?
It
How do people find out
is.
about
It definitely is a very difficult task.
it?
So something we have on side is how long we've been going. That really helps. We've always been very much event based. So our
Okay.
faces and names were known very well from the events. However, we don't do, I think we do maybe 36 shows a year now, whereas we used to do 60 to 70.
That's a lot.
It was heck of a lot. But now we also do a lot of social media. So Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. We have on our website where you can sign up to our newsletters where a lot of special offers and things get sent out. And then there is one thing we do with Paws Made that's very, very different. We've actually recently completed this year. We have what we call our Paws Made Production Day. So on
Okay.
that day, we advertise it through the summer, and you can sign up with an email to be entered into it. This year, we had 120 odd participants enter. Out of that, we choose from a random generator 18 people that can attend. We hire this year as Dog Sports Derby, so that's an agility venue. We hire that out, we pay the cost of the hire. We hire in a trailer this trainer. This year that was Lucy Norton, formerly known as Lucy Osborne. She's married now. And we take all our toys there. We hire a videographer as well because it gives us a bit of content. And for the day, we treat everybody that comes there like kings and queens. There's food provided. They get to choose a toy, try out all our different toys with their dogs. Obviously, for ourselves, we're capturing content at the same time. But it's nice to meet people face to face that we may not have met before or had a chance to talk to properly. Because on the stall or events or on emails, you get that brief snippet of somebody.
Yeah,
Whereas on this day, they're there for a good 2 hours for their session. They may stay longer for a bit of food, a bit of a chat. And you can really get to know people, get to know their dogs, how they use your toys. And it just makes for an amazing day, really. Everyone that goes, we have such good feedback. And then I believe a lot in word of mouth, which I think that spreads amazing word of mouth for us.
definitely. Yeah, that's a fantastic thing to do. And I suppose it's nice to see your products being used at ground level and sort of equally, it probably gives you a little bit of feedback about, oh, we could probably tweak that or redesign that slightly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
to get in with your customers is as you say, their names, their faces, their accounts that you see pop up. You rarely get to see the actual person that you're dealing with. So that's a really
Definitely.
nice way to do that.
And then another way that I think we keep ourselves out there a lot as well, we're very integrated in the community. So
Okay.
like myself, Abby and Mum, we all can judge within agility. We've got our qualifications to do so, or we previously were committee members of clubs and things like that. So I think it's very important in whatever area you're in to be involved, because how do you know what's going on and if you're not?
Yeah, no, definitely, definitely. So do you have any plans to have any toys that are in like development at the moment? Have you got anything
So
coming
there
up?
was a new toy that we released on our production day. It is
Okay.
live on the website now. There will be an official video following, because we caught that whilst was at our production day.
Mm.
And that is actually the Tuggapus.
Okay.
So it comes in lots of different handle options. So the bungee handle, the fleece handle, or our webbed handle, because that is a cheaper option for people. If you
Mm.
don't particularly need a bungee or anything like that, you just go for the webbed handle choice. And it follows on from the success last year of our Octo Tug, which is a really popular flat octopus with the crinkly legs on the extra long plait. The
Uh-huh.
feedback that we had from that item is obviously the octopus is always going to be a weak point because it is just a fabric octopus. So he is now trapped inside a cage, making the Tuggapus.
Amazing.
And that's one that we have literally very recently released, but not officially released because the socials video hasn't come out for it yet.
Oh, amazing. I can attest, yes, the octopus one is very, very popular, especially with little puppies. They seem to love that.
Yeah, it's just
So I think
something
it's a
fun,
nice
and it's fun for
upgrade.
ourselves to look at too.
Yeah, exactly. At least as little puppies grow, they've now got to get it out of the cage as well. So that's pretty cool. Extra challenges.
Definitely.
So obviously as a business you've been going for a very long time, which is amazing. And it's amazing to see that you're obviously growing from strength to strength and bringing in new products all the time. How do you find sort of your goals for the future as a business? Do you have any sort of plans or aspirations to continue to grow, or anything else you're looking at doing?
Yeah, so we tend to find that sometimes the growth just comes and then we're looking around going, right, we need to refine things better. And which is currently where we're at the moment. We listed all the products on the website, and then I'll look back at a listing that was maybe made a year or two ago. I'm like, where I am now with listing those products, I want to redo that listing. I want to redo my photos. I want to add a video to it, because the need for content online is always growing, because as
Mm.
online sales grow, I can understand it. People want to see the products better and
Yeah.
get a better idea of what they're purchasing. So there's always the need to refine things, make things better online. And as a business ourselves, we just like to try and keep current. That's always a big battle as well. Making sure we're turning over the stock, sourcing the new stock that is wanted. And yeah, for developing for the future, I think that then sets you up for success for when them opportunities come along to grab them.
Definitely. So how do people order from you? And because obviously your things are handmade, so can you just buy them on the website? Do you have to wait for a little while to
Yeah, so
place
that's
your
the really cool
made to
thing.
order?
The fact that they are all handmade here, any orders that are placed on the website, we try dispatch same day. So on the website at the minute, we've just today completed a reprint at 2 o'clock. That means anything that was ordered up until 2 o'clock today will be made and sent out today. And that
Wow,
is from scratch, they're made as well. So
that's
that's what
a
allows
quick
people the color
turnaround.
choices. Yeah, definitely. We
That's
try
a
and turn it around
massive
really
turnaround.
fast.
Your machinists must be like squirreling away.
Anna, who is mostly in the back room there in the sewing room, she does say to us some days it'll be, please boys, don't print me anything else off after 1 o'clock today, because I won't have chance to do it. And we're like, that's fair enough. And that could be because
Mm.
she has some more technical toys to make or anything like that.
And how long does it take to make a toy? Out of curiosity, I presume
It
new
depends on the
person.
prep work. That's what it
Mm.
depends on. So Paula will always try and make sure that the rabbit and sheep are cut to size, ready to use for the different applications.
Okay.
We're slowly getting better as that as a company as well. So we'll have the webbing all cut to size for the different applications as well. And then that meaning if everything's there and dusted, between 5 or 10 minutes, you can have a certain toy made because it's all there
Wow.
and ready. However, there's a lot of prep work that then goes into that behind the scenes that's made all
Mm.
them components accessible to put together to make that toy.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's planning. All that planning is always good, isn't it? Planning and preparing
It doesn't
beforehand.
always go to plan though, that is for sure.
I can imagine. I mean, in terms of individual components, there must be hundreds.
Yeah,
little bits that you
so
have to
the
prepare?
warehouse I'm currently in at the moment, literally the back room, which is on the floor space, it's just less than a quarter of that floor space for that warehouse. And then there are pallets in the warehouse that are just dedicated to Paws Made. So
Wow.
it takes up a lot of room. And there is
Mm.
I think there's about 6 or 7 racks in that back room full of like the made up components ready.
So do you have times of the year that you're particularly busy? I suppose obviously show time when you're out doing shows and events, you're particularly busy. Do you make sort of, I don't know, the Christmas branded toys or things like that that make you particularly busy at certain times of year or not particularly?
So we are busy generally all year. However, we have, I'd say our slowest times are normally September and normally January. They're normally the two slowest. So September, we're just coming out of show season, and
Mm.
January, we've just had Christmas. Our busiest time is definitely Crufts. That's just manic. And Christmas and Black Friday, they are our three busiest times of the year. And also August. August is crazy
Okay.
for events.
Yeah, I can imagine lots of going on in August.
Yeah, there are a lot of like big pinnacle events within our scene that keep us very busy. So me and Abby are at the warehouse for about 2 weeks in August normally. So that's losing 2 people from the warehouse. It's a big
Mm.
drop in how many are here, and everyone has to pick up those bits that those other people do.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is your quiet. We're obviously recording this in September. So this is your quiet lull.
Yeah, so it's sort of we've just finished events because we used to run through into October. Now we stop in September. It allows us time to, because we've been so busy with the events, we've not touched our online stores much. There's been
Mhm.
maintenance on them, but not much. So September allows us that bit of time to get ready for Black Friday and Christmas, because it just does go. We go from around 100 parcels average a day to 200 to 300 average a day over Christmas and Black Friday.
Wow, that's a lot.
So we don't only sell on our website; it is also eBay, Amazon, and Etsy as well.
Okay.
So a lot of the sales, obviously, there is the website sales, which are very good nowadays. They're actually on a par with eBay and Amazon combined, whereas it
Hmm.
used to be the other way around. Mum and dad were building the business up more. They used to rely more on Amazon and eBay for the turnover,
Yeah.
which it still is good now, but they're the more generic pet products as in on those.
Mm. And I suppose people who know of your brand, know who you are the ones that come directly to the website to see the full
Definitely.
range of everything.
Yeah, and we found Etsy's been really good for our handmade products because it's allowed us to, we offer it on our own website. However, the way Etsy does it, it shows it to a broader audience of abroad. So that's
Okay.
really helped.
Sounds fantastic. Knowing that obviously you're sending all these toys and games and fun things out and products out to dogs, it must be quite rewarding to know that there's all of your little handmade toys and all your bits and pieces like making dogs'
Oh,
lives nice and happy.
it's really nice to see. So a bit like this year, me and Abby visited the European Opens for agility,
Hmm.
just as spectators. And it is really cool when you're walking around, you're just watching people play on the start line or play at the finish run. You're like, it's one of our toys. It
That
is a
must
cool
be
feeling, that
brilliant.
is.
I
Yeah,
bet
definitely.
to see how wide they go. And obviously, as you say, with that spike in parcel deliveries, the amount of dogs that are getting a paws made toy in their stocking is incredible.
It's brilliant. And then also the other part is as well, it's nice that it supports so many different families that work within our company as well. That always
And
gives you
a
such a nice
British
feeling.
business, a UK business rather than being shipped in,
Yeah,
made here is fantastic.
definitely. And we are as well very lucky that we have our dogs at work. So at work, sometimes there's up to 9 dogs, which can be a
Wow.
little bit mad.
I'm surprised you get anything done. Gosh.
So on our stories, if anyone ever sees them, you may see Oliver featuring a lot. He likes to go in the warehouse. He likes posing for the camera, and also it helps us get shots, real life shots with dogs with our toys.
And they get obviously as many toys as they want to play with. They are probably the official product test.
Oh, definitely.
Lucky them. It's lovely to hear how sort of the business has become sort of from a family business and grown and all the different products you make. It's incredible. So what is the best way for people to actually view your products and purchase them from you?
The best way is definitely the website. So that's pawstrading.co.uk. The price point on the website will always be the best of all our platforms because when we're on Etsy, Amazon, or eBay, there are other fees to take into
Mhm.
account. So the website is always the best place. And then if there's something you're unsure of, toy selection, or there's 2 toys you can't choose between, drop us a message on Facebook, Instagram, or emails, and we're always pretty quick at getting back to people. Also, we have set up on the website a little code for your podcast listeners. So that's Potter Paws. That will be until the end of this year. And if there is a Paws Made purchase made through the PawsTrading website, they'll get 10% off with that code.
That's incredible. Thank you very much. I will make sure that information, so your website, and obviously I'll link your socials as well, and the discount code are in the description of the podcast, so that anyone can look back at those and directly come through to you. That's incredible. Make the most of that discount code, because you can get some brilliant toys for your dogs and enjoy. It's a nice opportunity to try something different as well. I would highly suggest, is it the Waggle you said it was called? I'm terrible.
The Waggle is always a
Waggle.
Winner. Yeah.
Brilliant toy. Fantastic. And I particularly like the rabbit all things as well.
Yes, that was a development, again, for dogs that weren't fully into their toys. The standard Paws Pocket sometimes wasn't enough to entice the odd dog. So adding the rabbit fur to it was just the genius of making it irresistible to a lot of dogs. Totally
irresistible. Amazing. Do you have anything else you'd like to mention or sort of end with before we part?
Just as always, it's a massive thank you to anybody that follows us or buys from us, because without their support, we just wouldn't be able to do what we do. So a massive thank you to everybody.
And hopefully, if you are listening and you haven't discovered these incredible toys, and obviously all the other products too, I would highly recommend them, because they are fantastic. It's been lovely talking to you, Jack. Thank you so much. And make sure you check out the discount code so that you can enjoy some playing with your dogs.
And thank you for having us on and inviting us. It's much appreciated.
Not a problem. Nice to speak to you.
Thank you for listening to The Dynamic Dog Owner with me, Debbie Potter. See you next time.